Today, on Tyria Talk, the Flame and Frost patch seeks to update many core features of Guild Wars 2, and I smell a distinct lack of peaches. Let's get to it. Howdy folks, my name is Richie aka Otter, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. This is episode number 49, and today we're going to be going over the major changes upcoming in the Flame and Frost Prelude patch, which will hit Guild Wars 2 servers this coming Monday, January 28th, 2013. Now, probably the biggest thing that's going to be included in this patch is guesting. Now, we've been waiting for guesting since before the game's launched. In fact, we expected it to be with the release of Guild Wars 2, and it's been delayed. And we actually recently got some information that they have had this feature ready for quite some time, but right before they were going to put it into a live game update, this happened multiple times. They actually discovered some huge game-breaking bug with it, and they had to actually delay it. So I guess it's good overall that they found those bugs and delayed it, and hopefully they have squashed all of the problems with it so that everything is smooth come this Monday. Now, so here's the kind of things you need to know about it. Guesting allows you to play on other people's servers, right? So if you have friends on other servers, you can join them and play with them, which is great. You can have up to 2 servers at a time that you signify as your guesting servers, and your choices will last for 24 hours, and then you can make a new choice. So this is a good kind of restriction, because what it'll do is it'll prevent you from hopping to 10 or 12 or servers in a given day and just exploit it by being able to do extra world boss kills, or I'm sure there's tons of ways you can exploit that if you were allowed to just run rampant throughout all those servers. So that's a good restriction. The other restriction is it has to be within the same region that you're on. So North American servers cannot guest over to European and vice versa. And I wrote an article about this for GameBreaker. There's people that have been very upset about it. It's obviously a restriction that a lot of people weren't expecting, especially players who were used to being able to kind of play with anybody in Guild Wars 1. And it's also kind of like the first time we've actually heard about this restriction. So it is a little disappointing. I will say that it's kind of it makes sense for them to not allow it if their server structure can't really handle it. What happens is they have a data center in North America and they have a data center in Europe, and when you're guesting, it doesn't actually move your character over there. And so what can happen is you can have high ping times and different kind of performance issues which could make the gameplay not so good. Now, the argument I keep seeing is, well, why not just allow us to do it and we can make our own choice if it's playable or not? And that's a valid argument for those people that are aware that there's data center issues and that they're aware that there could potentially be an issue. But it's not a good business model for ArenaNet, because there's probably going to be more people that aren't aware of the data center issue. Just say, oh, look, here's a feature that they're giving me. Oh, I can go play with some friends over in Europe. That's great. And then they have this horrible lag, this horrible performance issue. And guess who they're going to blame? They're going to blame ArenaNet. They're going to open up support tickets. They're going to get angry if it can't be resolved. There's going to be so you're risking backlash from those people by allowing something like that. So I understand why they're not doing it, and I can probably devote a whole episode of Tyria Talk to talking about that. But I have more things to cover. So let's move on from guesting. Guesting's really cool. The last thing you can't do is you can't do world versus world, and that just makes sense. You can't do world versus world and represent another server. You have to represent your server, which leads us to paid server transfers. They're also going to be implementing paid server transfers, so it's no longer going to be free. So make sure you get on the home world that you want to be on for the long haul before they implement the paid feature. Now, you can still transfer to other servers. It will cost gems, and it's going to cost more gems to transfer to a server that has a high population, and it'll be cheaper for ones that are low population. So that's going to come in. It's great that we've had free transfers for so long. Obviously, it was tied to the fact that guesting wasn't in place yet, and I think this will actually have a positive impact on World versus World. You won't have these big guilds that are heavy into World versus World, just server hopping and continually, upsetting the rankings. You'll have a server on top, and then all of a sudden a couple of the big guilds will transfer off, and then that server can't win World versus World anymore. So that should start to stabilize, and people should start to, feel like they're growing roots on their home server. Also on the PvP front, they are having a Temple of the Silent Storm week. Forgive me if I look over here a little bit. I have some notes over here. So from January 28th to February 4th, they're going to be replacing the regular 8-team 3-round tournaments with 2-team 1-round tournaments. They're still going to be paid tournaments, and they're all going to take place in the Temple of the Silent Storm. And they're just trying this out just like a fun week kind of thing to just have that map and have the tournaments kick off quicker because you only need 2 teams. And they're going to do that for a week, and then afterwards, then the Temple of the Silent Storm is actually going to enter the normal tournament rotation. So that's interesting and cool. They're also implementing a new achievement system with this patch. Now, the achievement system is going to affect dailies in the beginning, and what it's going to do is it's going to rotate your achievements for the day. So you're not going to always have the same set like we've had every day since the launch. It's not going to always be daily variety and daily kills and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be different things each day. So that's going to be interesting to see what do they come up with. Long term, this is not coming in the patch. Long term, what they're going to be doing is actually giving you a subset of those achievements that you can complete and still get the achievement. So to put it another way, they might have 8 different things on the list for your daily, and you only have to do 6 of them, and you'll still get your reward. So that'll be really cool. So then they can offer some more challenging things or some different choices like they don't do right now. So for example, they're not going to give you right now as a daily complete a jumping puzzle or complete 4 jumping puzzles or whatever, because some people hate jumping puzzles, some people can't do jumping puzzles, and it just wouldn't really be fair for people because they wouldn't be able to actually do it. So they don't want to force people to do stuff like that, but they can do that in this new system once they make it so that you can skip some of them. So that's going to be really cool to see how that develops. They're also going to introduce a new Laurel currency, and this is coming in the Flame and Frost patch. The Laurels are a currency that you get by doing your daily and monthly achievements. You get 1 for doing your daily achievements. You get 10 for doing your monthly achievement. And these Laurels can be used to buy a variety of things. They gave a screenshot that kind of listed some of them. Some of the things you can get are unidentified dyes. You can get new mini pets, including a new cat named Chauncey Von Snuffles III. Okay, somebody at ArenaNet really likes cats. So there's some new mini pets. There are what else were there? There are new infusion items. You can get necklaces now. So that's really cool. Ascended gear. You can get ascended necklaces and different infusions are going to be there as well. So now you don't only have to grind fractals to actually get ascended gear. You can get it through this vendor just by doing your dailies. There's going to be there's these profession equipment boxes. They have like an engineer box, a warrior box, etc. We don't know exactly what's in those yet. And so there's a whole bunch of different things. Seems like an interesting selection of things that basically everybody should be able to find something in there that they can use. So that doing dailies is just not going to keep stockpiling karma, which you might not have a use for anymore. So it's a reason to log in the game every day and kind of do these new sets of dailies that they have. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see what else we got in here. What else do we see here? Yeah, see? They're making the first improvement to World versus World's culling issue. That's the issue where you can't see people on the screen for a few seconds, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my god, I'm surrounded by people. Where the heck did they all come from? That issue that you probably experienced. Maybe you don't have that voice, though. That's probably not your voice. But anyway, they're making the first steps to improving the culling issue, and they're actually implementing it across the board. It's going to be in effect for PvE, too, because, things like the Karka invasion and stuff like that, there were enemies around you didn't see for a few seconds. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be putting in a low-res model instantly, and then a few seconds later they'll fill in the higher res, higher polygon count model. So it won't look great at first, but at least you'll be able to see them and you won't be attacked by this individual army. So that's super cool. The culling issue will continue to be worked on. They hope that they can eliminate it or close to it, or make much less of an issue than it is now. They are putting in some new improvements to certain zones. I think this is going in this patch. I think they want to put in some changes to ore. They want to actually thin out the number of monsters in ore, and also put in a couple new waypoints that are non-contested, so people can get around those zones a little bit easier. And I think that they're also going to be putting in they're fixing some issues so that you can still get level 80 items and loot no matter what zone you go into, even if you're down leveled. Currently, you don't always get level 80 equipment and stuff like that to drop, or at least there's not always a chance for it to drop when you're doing these lower level zones. So you'll have that chance now. It's not always going to drop level 80 stuff, but you'll at least have that chance no matter where you go. So that's really cool too. There's going to be new items in the gem store, including the Quaggan backpack. Because, nothing says fear me more than having like an anthropomorphic manatee strapped to your back, But yeah, for those of you who like that, I'll probably put out a video, showing off some of the new gem store items. There's also going to be riding brooms and a revamped box of fun. So it should be interesting to see what those things are all about. And there's going to be some changes to the way dungeons work. I actually wrote an article about this last week as well. They are taking out the ability to revive at a waypoint in dungeons while other members of your party are actually in combat. So there's no more like, okay, let's just throw ourselves at the boss over and over again. Oh, I'm dead. All right, I'm back. I'm dead. I'm back. I'm dead. You can't just get through encounters like that anymore. It's going to be a little bit more of like a traditional dungeon encounter, whereas if your party all dies, you wipe. You have to all go back to the waypoint together and attempt it again from the beginning. They are also going to be tweaking a lot of the encounters, and so that they can make sure that with this new mechanic in place that these encounters are still doable. Eventually they're going to add some more waypoints to the instances, so there's not as much of a long run back in some cases, but I could probably talk a whole episode about this as well. But I'll try to keep it short. In the nutshell, it's going to be hard to adjust to this at first. I think some people might have a little bit of an issue with this because we're not used to it. If they really do their job and have really retuned these encounters in such a way to make them more fun and doable in this environment, I think in the long term this is great for the game. I've always felt since the very beginning that this felt a little weird. It's felt a little odd that you could just graveyard Zerg these encounters to death, and it'll encourage the players to actually work together a little bit more, and it'll encourage the designers to actually make more interesting boss encounters. I don't think anybody well, I would say for the most part, people don't really want to just throw themselves over and over at the bosses and defeat them. But there is concern from folks that this is going to be impossible now, and that people are going to have more problems pugging, and that means people are going to get kicked out of groups more and all this kind of stuff. And that those there might be some negative side effects to it. I'll be honest with you there, but I think long term, it's going to be great for the dungeon design. And, you really, it's hard to say it, but if you find that pugging is becoming more and more difficult, you got to try to fall into a group of friends. You got to find a couple buddies that you run consistently, that you feel comfortable with, so that you're not in a situation where you're feeling that pressure and you're feeling that anxiety and all that kind of stuff, because it's supposed to be fun at the end of the day. So overall, a lot of core system changes being updated or fixed or altered, but not a lot of new content going in. Now, we do have a little bit of a teaser about what this patch is about. This is a new story arc. It's called Flame and Frost, and this is just called the Prelude, this patch. This is what they said. They said the sky falls and the ground shakes in the lands of the north. Char and Norn refugees crawl from the wreckage of their homes in the Wayfarer foothills and Yessa Plateau. Struggling to find shelter in the south, the call goes out for volunteers to assist the victims in this time of need when earth and sky seem to have become the enemy. So it's a multi-stage story that will come for a couple months to come. Now, they've already shattered our dreams and said, hey, there's no new Elder Dragon in this story arc. So that's out of the question. So it'll be interesting to see what is causing Wayfarer Foothills and Diessa Plateau to go nuts. Is it some sort of elemental force? Is it the Sons of Svanir? Is it the Flame Legion? Is it just natural disasters happening? Because they mentioned things like the earth and sky seem to be your enemy. I don't know. But it should be interesting to see how that plays out come Monday morning. So that's really going to wrap things up there. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments field below. And as usual, like, favorite, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be notified when future videos are released. And don't forget, you can also contact me on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'll put all that information in this section below. And I just want to thank everybody and have a great day. Ma chère Internet, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you tonight. And now we invite you to relax. Let us pull up a chair as ArenaNet proudly presents Guesting. Be our guest, be our guest, put our servers to the test. Fly to New Worlds, play with friends for free, and we provide the rest. Cursed shore, Tengu birds, why golems only live to serve. Try the crate puffs, they're delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the fishes. They can sing, they can dance. After all, this is Tyria, and they never have the second best to run.